unfortunately, it has come to my attention that basically everyone on the face of planet Earth, or at least here in the suburbs of California, is wondering whether they should be on Ozempic or some other GLP-1. And I know this because I have been in multiple conversations recently where people who have between 10 and 30 pounds to lose have mentioned that maybe they just need to go on it for a little while. And I think there's this sense that like everyone else is on it and the goalposts of what it means to look healthy seem to be changing. And so their perception of what they need to do is also changing. Also, many of us are in the perimenopausal and menopausal category. And so I do give a little bit of credence to the fact that like our bodies are just changing at the same time. This isn't the type of thing I normally talk about because I talk about feeding kids, but because this exists in the cross section of the life that I live and the world that I work in, which is 15 plus years in the wellness and food space, I did want to bring it up today because I think seeing the incredible shrinking bodies of so many people around us is having an effect on even those of us who have been thinking about food and bodies for a long time and who have in many ways come to terms with their own relationship with their body. It's tricky. And so I just want to honor that this can be a tricky conversation, and in no way am an expert in the use of GLP-1s and related peptides for weight loss, but I am a human existing in the space having this experience. And I realized that one of the things that I have been struggling with is that in the wake of perimenopause, my third postpartum, right about at the same time that I was hitting perimenopause and 40, has been complicated. And in an effort to not talk too much about bodies, because I do think that they're the least interesting thing about us, I haven't shared my process for what tools I have used, what processes I have gone through to be really stronger and more energized than ever. And that maybe that was a detriment because I'm not like a creator who's going to make a what I eat in a day video. I don't think you should eat what I eat, all of those things. But I think in an effort to distance myself from too much body change talk, but also undertaking some body change myself and not talking about it, I may be accidentally adding to this feeling that like, well, everyone is just doing this, or they just exist in a body that looks exactly how they want it to look. And neither of those are my experience. I have very intentionally over the past year and a half undertaken efforts to support muscle building. And I guess I just wanted to dig into it today so that you know if you want to lose some fat, you want to build some muscle, this is the path that I've taken. I will tell you, I'm not going to show you any pictures before and afters, those kinds of things. That is also not my thing. And I think it lends us to this idea that you have to like look a certain way to know things. I'm just going to ask you to trust me that for the past 18 months, I have probably solidly lost about like 10 pounds of fat and gained a ton of muscle. I was super happy with my DEXA scan results, which if you don't know what that is, it analyzes the composition of your body fat versus your muscle mass. The most important thing to me is maintaining and growing my muscle mass in this phase of my life. Everything else is just incidental. And so if you have those goals too, maybe me sharing what I'm sharing today could give you another perspective on ways that you can support your body without necessarily going the GLP-1 peptide route. So first, I'm going to tell you bad news. I have tracked my macros loosely, fairly closely, except for like a month or two over the last 18 months. And I know that's something a lot of people don't want to do, but what I will tell you is that as someone who formerly did not want to do that, it was so eye-opening. And it was eye-opening in this specific way, in that I think when I was younger, I just had more time and energy for moving around. Had a lot more active jobs and my body was just had more wiggle room. And what I'm realizing now is that I don't have as much wiggle room as I would necessarily like or have always had. And building more muscle helps with that, having caloric wiggle room and metabolic flexibility. But I just can't eat everything that I want all the time. That is bad news. And one of the benefits of macro tracking has been that I've realized that I can fit almost anything in if I make the right kind of like sacrifices. So I have been trained as a Moderation 365 coach, which is not about macro counting. I still swear by Moderation 365, and I think it's a great solution. But what I found is that by having macro tracking as one of my tools in my toolkit while having kids, while throwing a birthday party with pizza, while going out to dessert and drinks with my husband, actually gave me enough data to feel comfortable and understand the sacrifices or like the shifts that I needed to make on a day-to-day basis so that I really could eat anything that I wanted and also reach the goals that I had. I happen to be a big fan of MacroFactor, and a couple of reasons for this. One, it is adherence neutral. So you aren't going to like get crazy low estimations for what you should be doing. It's not going to give you like a big red X if you didn't follow things for the day. And so I have found that really comforting. Two, if you want AI coaching and you have goals that you want to reach specifically around fat loss, you can put those into the app, and it is quite good at understanding your actual expenditure and if you track your intake and telling you what to do. I'm actually not doing that anymore. I just set my own goals. I didn't like weighing myself every day, frankly. That wasn't for me. And if that's not for you, I want you to know that there are like plenty of other options out there. I also do 3 to 4 strength training sessions per week. Right now, I am utilizing Theory of Motion, but I've used a lot of different always app-based tools, and I'm happy to share those if you're interested. And then I aim to do 3 to 4 days of cardio on a good week, but lately that has looked mostly like walking, which isn't necessarily cardio, but it's what I can do. And so what I want to assure you is that plenty of us are out here quietly doing the work. Now that we have our taco made, we're going to put a little bit of the drizzle of the sriracha, and you got to bend it a bit. So messy and so good.